Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Holy smokes, Binance just had a flash crash in the price of Bitcoin, all the way down to a price of $8,200. You can't make this up. Right here's the candlestick. $8,200 is now the 24-hour low for BTC on the Binance.US platform. Now, it's very important to know that Binance US is the, as you might guess, United States version of the Binance company. Binance has an international trading platform as well. However, the international version is not available in the United States thanks to different regulations. Now, take a look at this. $8,200 in a 1-minute candlestick. That is an 87% drop on a candlestick or wick that went all the way down. Why would this happen? Well, here's exactly why something like this happens and what you can do to prevent getting screwed in scenarios like this, and perhaps what you could do to try to profit in scenarios like this. Because some people are calling this potentially a scam wick. And there are ways to prevent yourself from getting scammed, and ways to protect yourself and potentially take advantage of these sorts of opportunities that come up. Okay, so here's how this works. Let's make an example that you are a Bitcoin stock exchange. You are the exchange. And so that is, let's say you have a house and your house is the exchange. See, you got a nice little window up here. Okay, great. Over here, you have a table of buyers, and over here, you have a table of sellers. And you're the happy middle person over here who's going to help take the orders. Okay, great. And you're wearing a scarf. Perfect. That doesn't look right. So let's go with something else. You know what? Whatever. It's a scarf. Okay. So now let's say that usually you have, I don't know, do we have a volume here? Yeah, we have a 24-hour volume. We've got volume right now jumping around. These are moving averages. Okay, so we got a 24-hour volume over here at about 165 million USD, but that could be wide. Let's keep it simple. Let's just say you have buyer volume usually of $5 million that comes in, and you have seller volume of $5 million that comes in. Well, usually these trades are going to get placed around what the market price for crypto is at any given time. So plus or minus 64,000. And depending on if at one point maybe you have 5.2 million sellers and 4.8 over here, Binance can kind of even some of this out to make sure that the spreads don't go wild. Because see here, you have a seller imbalance. A seller imbalance on this exchange is usually going to lead the price to go down. But let's say the price of Bitcoin on the market is actually 64,000, but you have this seller imbalance. The price on your platform might actually look artificially lower than what it should be. So let's say the actual market price for Bitcoin in the world is 64,000, but on your platform it's $63,900. Well, this happens regularly, especially at exchanges with lower levels of liquidity, because they can't step in. They don't have enough cash to come in and say, hey, no worries, I'll make sure the price doesn't go below the actual broader market price out here in the world of 64,000 by coming in and buying Bitcoin, by filling those orders of the people who are selling. So if this extra, $400,000 comes in, Binance could say, no problem, we'll buy it at the market price. So that way, when we get more actual buyers who come in and want to buy Bitcoin at the actual price, we could just transfer it over to them. Well, this happens regularly in exchanges. In fact, it happens so much there are actually hedge funds or institutions, potentially both, that play arbitrage like this. Like they'll see, oh look, on Binance, Bitcoin's selling for 63,900, but on Coinbase, maybe they have the opposite problem and it's at 64,100. So they'll go buy here and sell over here. That's like making an instant $200 profit. Now, this is called arbitrage because it's an inefficiency in the marketplace. They're essentially taking something that's worth 64, getting it for a discount, and selling it at a premium somewhere else. This is very commonly done. By them doing this, they're actually creating more buyer demand, right? They're bringing this back to 5 and the seller demand, or maybe 5.2, and they're matching that 5.2, right? So arbitrageurs actually help create a market. They provide liquidity. In fact, if you ever look at things like Tether USD, you'll oftentimes see these things trade in like increments of pennies, like a tenth or a hundredth of a penny. And that's because every time it goes above $1, people are selling it. Every time it goes below $1, people are buying it. And they're trying to keep it at $1 because it's supposed to be a stable coin. So that works the same way. Except in the early days. Like if you look at the early days of Tether, for example, let's see if we can get a Tether chart here. Tether, let's go to, here, we'll go to CoinMarketCap, we'll look at Tether. If you go far back to the early days of some of these coins, or you know what, we'll go to the USD coin because it's just conveniently right here. You'll see a lot more volatility. See this massive volatility? Oh, wait, you can't. There we go. Now you can. See this massive volatility you have over here? The reason you have these crazy ups and these crazy downs, like a flash crash, is because you don't have enough people doing arbitrage to provide liquidity, and the exchange doesn't have enough money to provide that liquidity to make that, or to minimize the need for arbitrage by keeping the price stable, which should be at $1, right? Stable coins. And note this range is really only like 4 pennies here in either direction. But it's the same thing. And the more liquidity there is and the more stable things become, the less of this volatility you get, the less likelihood of a crazy flash crash you get. So why did we get this kind of flash crash over here at Binance? Well, it's probably because of something like this. We'll go back to this little chart right here. Rather than a simple example like what I just explained, let's go extreme. Let's say the market price for Bitcoin is $64,000, and all of a sudden a whale comes in here and says, I'm selling $100 million. And over here on the buy side, they only have $5 million of buyers. Well, now what's going to happen is the computers are going to automatically go down what's known as an order book. And they're going to say, okay, we've got somebody who wants to sell at $100 million worth of Bitcoin. Let's sell 5 million of it at 64. Then let's, now we've blown all of our buyers at that price, right? So to get to the next pool of buyers, let's find, oh, look here, we got $5 million worth of buyers who have set limit orders for 60,000. Okay, let's sell 5 million to them. And then you just keep going down the order book, at various different prices, essentially until you've sold the person's entire $100 million position. Now, the only way to prevent the price from flash crashing is if the middle person, in this case Binance US, can come in and say, whoa, 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 this is where we need to come in and prevent the price from flash crashing. We'll post the $100 million, and then we'll just slowly trickle it out to buyers as they come in to make sure our market price is similar or our exchange price is similar to what the broader market is doing. But if Binance US, which according to a person familiar with Binance.us, this is exactly what happened. Binance US did not have enough liquidity to facilitate that kind of sale to prevent a flash crash. And so what do you get? Boom, you get flash crash. Price goes all the way down to 8,200 as the order book gets extinguished, basically. People buy. And the loser here is whoever the whale is, who is setting this massive sell order, and anybody who has stop losses or set up on their account or trailing stop losses. So a stop loss, just to give you an example of this, might mean, hey, I've made good money on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin ever falls below 60,000, sell my Bitcoin. So now, and this is where problems can actually get exacerbated, now you go down this order book, and now all of a sudden, let's say you get people who set a bunch of stop losses at 60,000. So if Bitcoin goes below 60,000, put in a market order to sell, let's say $10 million worth of Bitcoin. So now you have even more cells that you got to fill in that order book. This is why it's so important that an exchange provider have proper or enough liquidity to sort of prevent situations like this from happening. Otherwise, like you see here, you get a temporary collapse, which then obviously as the price falls, you get arbitrageurs who quickly buy, high frequency traders who quickly buy, or people who have low purchase limits set get to go shopping. So how do you protect yourself in this kind of situation? Whoops. Well, you protect yourself in a situation like this. Ignore this little Facebook crypto thing here. You protect yourself in a situation like this by being very, very careful with stop losses. Stop losses, in my opinion, are something that you generally don't want to have going all the time, especially on something as volatile as crypto, because of exactly this reason. I would rather try my best to pay attention to crypto, but it's tough because sometimes crypto plummets in the middle of the night. So this is where you have to ask yourself, do you want stop losses for a portion of your portfolio, sort of limiting your potential exposure to these stop losses? They are rare, but if you set stop losses and you get a flash crash, you get screwed. The other thing that you can do is you could set limit buys. The problem is most of us forget when we have limit buys set. So all of a sudden you could start seeing something like, let's say crypto falls from 65 to 60 to 50 to 40, and you have a limit buy set at 50,000, but it's on a massive downtrend, it's gonna go down to 30. Well, now you just bought at 50 and you could have bought it at 30 if you manually did it, right? That's an extreme example, obviously, but limit buys can be risky. But in a flash crash, the way to protect yourself if there's going to be a flash crash is do not have stop losses. You don't want those. This you do not want. But you do want limit buys, so that way you're part of the order book that gets executed. So this is good, this is bad in a flash crash. But there are also downsides. If the market starts falling more broadly, this has pain. If there's no flash crash, the stop loss, can help you minimize pain. Now, if you like the way I explain things, consider checking out my programs on building your wealth, link down below, especially the Stocks and Psychology of Money group, where I talk about this sort of stuff. So check that out. There's a 41% off coupon code that does expire October 29th, so check that out. I'd love to have you part of the group. The prices do go up every time a coupon code expires, and I do add content regularly. In fact, there's a new content drop coming later in the day on October 24th, which I'm super excited about releasing. And that's totally for free. So if you buy now, before, or after, it doesn't matter. There's no extra charge for future content. Check out those programs on Building Your Wealth, link down below. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. And folks, Binance, flash crash, exchange liquidity crisis. Hopefully now you understand a little bit more. By the way, Binance does not use margin. Binance US does not use margin. So this was not a liquidations issue. All right, folks. Thanks again. Bye.